Hi, welcome back to PingSunday. I'm EmRatThich. Today let's learn the reverse pendulum serve. It's a very important serve in table tennis. The reverse pendulum serve. First, focus on the unique inside to outside force motion, different from side spin. Grip the racket like a fist to concentrate force through the blade's center. Avoid relying on the index finger. Use inch power and apply sudden braking to create sharp spin. Keep your racket angle downward to conceal your intention and vary spins. Shift body weight properly, rotate on one leg, and use leg power from inside to outside. This gives your reverse serve a deceptive topspin or backspin with more variation and efficiency.
Here is the demonstration of Coach Sun, translated and commented by EmRatThich.
The main characteristic of reverse spin is that its power framework is different from side spin. It exerts force from inside to outside. So, what's the first thing we should pay attention to when using reverse spin? First, we need to understand its principle of force application, which is the principle of exerting force from inside to outside. So what advantage does expanding from the inside out have? It means that the force distance will be longer than that of the side spin ball that retracts from outside in. So first, when we start practicing this reverse spin, we need to talk about holding the racket. You can take a look at how to hold the racket. Overall, it's a bit like making a fist. Hey, firmly gripping the right half of the paddle, holding the front and back firmly. Now look, you can see the ring finger touches the paddle shoulder from the middle finger upwards, touching the back of the rubber. The little finger touching the ring finger. Just grip it like a fist. Yes, absolutely don't do this, because when you exert force, it's very obvious from the front, meaning that your index finger is too disconnected, making it easy to transfer force to the side of the bat. Now with a fist grip, it's very easy to transfer force to the center of the bat, meaning that the force is more concentrated and can better utilize the inch advance and break, right? Inch advance and break. Now everyone can also hear the sound of the ball landing on the table and the sound of hitting the ball. This is a detail. Yes, so the first thing is gripping the paddle. The second point, let's first talk about our paddle angle. After holding the paddle, you talk about the paddle angle. Some people might feel that the paddle angle for reverse spin is too flat. Well, flat is okay, but it has a significant drawback, which is when you want to serve a topspin ball. If the palmate blade angle is too obvious, everyone knows. In a match between experts, if you make a detail too obvious, it's like revealing your spin or your move to the opponent. No matter how strong your spin is, if the opponent knows it, it poses no threat. Alright, if I tilt the racket head toward the ground and make the racket face upright, it's very discreet when I serve topspin. Why? Because after serving, I can then adjust it like this. And when switching to backspin, look, when I flatten it and apply friction, it's very reasonable, see? So, our cue is that the paddle head should face the ground. Now, what's the next step? Let's first talk about our center of gravity. So if everyone observes carefully, how does its stance differ from that of a side spin ball? With a side spin, when preparing initially, the whole body's center of gravity is the two legs are wider than shoulder width apart. Because what it needs is, see, to draw from outside to inside, so it needs to open up first, and finally press the knees inward, it's from outside to inside. Now with reverse spin, it's the same logic, from the inside out. What is it? You can see the legs. It's like pushing outward, like this, see? So, reverse spin has this feeling, pushing from the inside out. You can understand side spin as pulling from the outside in. Right, so for reverse spin, first bring your legs together, just the same. Align your legs with one foot in front of the other a bit. It seems we first gather all the strength in the core. As for the stance of the legs, you will find that when your legs are tightened, the framework of your upper body, you can see this starting point is explosive. Have you thought about it? You can totally consider it as what? As I just said, the forehand goes from inside to outside. Our reverse rotation is like what? Backhand extending from inside to outside. So you can see, right? If there is space, we can achieve a very high quality explosive backhand stroke. Therefore, for our reverse spin, since we serve ourselves all our power storage up to the height of the toss, fully depends on the rhythm and space that we can control. This is the advantage of reverse spin, right? It goes from the inside out. So when we practice, we need to feel like it's a backhand motion made from the inside out. See, you will notice our stance is like this, right? We can't stand like this. Then what will you notice? In this position, doing an inside-out move, you'll find that the actual reverse spin, as I initially mentioned, isn't quite like... when I send it forward, I realized that this shot is actually a reverse spin, but in terms of spin, it poses no threat. It is simply like hitting a flat shot with a little bit of right side spin. So this means this action can serve as a substitute. But as you can see, the action for my backhand as well. Look at this position for the backhand action. You'll notice this is right in front of me, right? So our true point of force starts from within. Pulling back toward my right front, that's the essence. Only by truly pulling back can the ball grip and stay on the rubber well, right? You see, I have to pull back, see? Now, isn't the ball pulled tightly and solidly? So at this moment, a fellow player asked, "Hey, it's very strange. Why, brother, when you pull back, does the ball still move forward?" Well, because at this time, the direction of force from the body's center of gravity is very important. First, I'll explain the simplest principle. If we apply force only forward in reverse spin, you see, if we apply force forward, what happens? It will very easily cause the ball to bounce forward forcefully. And in a match, see, it tends to overshoot or bounce high. Right, so in our minds, we think we are going backward. But actually, our hands will somewhat move forward. Move forward first, then pull back. The reason for pulling back is what? What's the purpose? To make the ball spin more and spin tighter. See? So it's still quite amazing. Actually, just pushing forward with the hand isn't enough, right? Why do you think pulling the hand back can still hit the table? This ties into the use of our body weight, which is very important. Pay attention. When the hand pulls back, we've solved that, right? Now let's coordinate it with the direction of my body weight. Did you notice that my center of gravity is pressing down forward? You can feel that I am pressing down towards the corner of the table, towards the tabletop, moving forward and downward. So the entire force, the entire focus of the force is forward. It's just my friction. I went a reverse direction because I want to reverse the spin and turn it into a right backward side spin, so my hand needs to extend outward. So at this moment, I coordinate with my weight pressing forward, see? Exactly. Why doesn't it go off the table when I press forward? Just like we discussed before with hooking, because the overall principle is forward or even backward, right? So the ball spins purely to the right, and it leaps forward less. If you see, just relying on my hand moving back, the ball indeed doesn't go over the table. How do I get it over? Table? Just like I mentioned before, I press my center of gravity down and forward. And this is the approach you truly see. When players like Ball and Zhang Jike play overseas, this is the kind of serve that can make opponents struggle and control them. You have many friends, and when they learn reverse spin, what do they learn? First, they easily start by learning the form first. Then you'll notice, if my hand was originally like this, which is reasonable. But many players learn this reverse spin style just for its appearance, because they think it looks cool. which I can understand. Then he will use the step framework. And you'll notice, what do you notice at this point? Speaking of my hand holding the racket, my point of force has already shifted away from my core. It's now outside my core. So, you see, my exertion is empty. Why? I cannot truly achieve the same movement as a reverse spin. Aha! I'm going from the line inside at the belly button outwards. You see, swing it out like this. So this is the first key point. This is a crucial point to pay attention to during training. No need to brace yourself too much, just slightly what? Lift the forearm a bit. And what should you use as a standard? You can use the end of the handle. A little closer to the chin, about this position. This is a preparation line. You look, this is the optimal power point. And when I'm closer to the body, I can truly use my internal core strength. I can use my QE. It seems that by breaking briefly with energy, the ball is held. I don't need to use external muscles superficially. This serve lacks speed. This is the first important point. So, what is the next crucial training point? We approach it step by step. First of all, many players definitely have this problem. When practicing reverse spin, I can't find the point. Look, there's this problem, right? You can't find the point. So what should you do? First, we simplify the movement. We can start without adding weight. First, don't add weight. Let's first feel what? Everyone knows. Actually, it is a bit different from a side spin ball. A side spin ball, you could say, you can serve it separately, toss the ball separately, then separately twist your waist on the right side, or you can toss the ball same time. So when it comes to the reverse spin, it doesn't have this peculiarity. Reverse spin requires what? While tossing the ball, you can find the rhythm and tip it a bit. It's about tossing the ball simultaneously. While pulling back the paddle, at the same time, when tossing the ball, we need to shift our center of gravity. See, the principle just explained is from the inside out, right? But how should it be? First, open up, because we have to open up to toss the ball, right? You can't do it like this. Many players experience this. It's like they lack something, an initial swing. You see, the toss must be done with an open stance. Then when coming back, look, at this moment, my whole body is open. Left foot's toe. When turning left and right, then finally, when executing the stroke. Our center of gravity is pressed downward and forward, and at the moment of executing the technique, we also extend backward. Correct, so let's first master this. We won't serve yet. Let's start with tossing the ball. Expand, you see, during the movement to the left and right, and at the moment of hitting the right leg, you see, the toes have already begun to exert force, shifting the center of gravity downward, and then continue. Basically, it consists of 4 steps, you see. 3. What are these 3? Is the shifting of weight downward. Then you will notice, how do I shift my weight? My hand has actually returned after the backswing, back inside, you see, right? Inside, outside, 4 steps. You can take notes. Inside, outside. Instead of just directly, the overall framework is from inside to outside. Now look, I added a bit more emphasis. So what is it then? Inside, outside. Because why do we add an inside-out step? It's because we add a step of tossing the ball and then regathering strength. Like if I do inside-out directly, as I just demonstrated, if it's directly inside-out, what happens? It can only move forward. This is something many players can imitate in appearance, but cannot capture the true essence of serving.
This is also considered a coordination training.
You see, inside out, this kind of serve is very rigid and has no spin. Now, as for the quality of my serve inside out, my kaczeństwo, the amount is immediately substituted for me, right? Then our reverse spin has no meaning. So it still needs to be complete. Well, once the backswing motion is resolved, because we suddenly went from 2 steps to 4 steps, in, out, we solve the center of gravity and the hand positioning at this point. So how do we find the ball first? We won't use the racket to touch the ball initially, because what's the most common situation I've seen? When trying to find the ball, because there's always the ball that you want to hit, the instinctive reaction is to try to touch the ball first, which leads to what action? Right, in order to hit it, he can only send it forward. And at this point, when you send it, what happens to all your core? It doesn't tighten. And the core strength doesn't transmit, it's just to hit the ball. So how do we solve this problem? Don't reach out. How do we solve it? First, we toss the ball. After tossing, what next? Actually, our most difficult step, 2 steps, what is it? Shifting the weight forward and pressing down. This is so that the power of my shot can go forward rather than just pulling my hand back. You see, this shot is hard to get over the net. So how do we practice leading with the center of gravity? First, we throw the ball, don't move the hand, and keep it closer to the body. What does it feel like? Use my chest to chase the ball, to hit the ball, to walk towards the ball. It's this feeling. At this point, you can truly find, as Director Sun said, that the direction of my body's force is actually moving from back to front. Look, see, this training is very necessary. Once you find this, you'll realize my body can hit the ball, proving that your hand isn't making any unnecessary movements. Now, let me demonstrate again for everyone to see, so you'll understand, oh, training this way is effective. Okay, you see, after I shift my weight forward and then pull my hand back, this ball will be very precise. So first we address the sense of moving the center of gravity forwards. The feeling of shifting your center of gravity forward must be fully executed. Left, right, left. Just this movement. You can't just stick out your chest. It's about using the center of gravity over your left leg. Look, stepping on the right and left, you definitely need to have the feeling of the tip of a foot touching the ground. Look, the tip of the foot touching the ground. Yes, this feeling. Then this is about the body weight. The second point is that it's easy to not connect with the ball at first. So at this time, we don't need to focus on our body weight. How do we practice first? Stand more upright. What do you ensure? Actually, everyone can see a mature reverse spin. You see, you will notice that my racket is basically close to my stomach, core, and chest area. Did you see? Even my peripheral vision can't see the racket. In this case, after I've practiced and have a very solid foundation, right? So at the beginning, we do the opposite. Placing our hands in front of the stomach, ensuring you can see both the ball and the racket, and also adjust the racket angle properly. First find what? The feeling of gently brushing. First, find the sensation of rubbing forward. So, what does it mean? I shift my center of gravity slightly backward. I don't need to overextend. First, find the sensation of locating the ball. Then, what is the action of our hand at this moment? Did you see the preparation for the shot? How do you prepare for it? The preparation for the reverse spin is like this. Just like the backhand. The preparation is like this. And all the actions for hitting the ball follow the same principle as the backhand. After exerting force, you stop, rather than turning your wrists at the moment of hitting the ball. That's a common issue for many students. See, they like to rotate the wrist aimlessly. So what's the wrist relying on? It's the inertia of the forearm and fingers holding the racket. You see, after my backswing, my inertia, when using force, the wrist is passive, and once it extends, what does our wrist need? Don't narrow it outward like that. We need to brake after gripping the pedal. Is this ball spinning and moving slowly? You can really feel the friction in front of the camera. Look, you must pay attention to the final movement of my wrist, see the angle, and not just... this is very simple. Let me show you a principle which is exactly the same as the backhand. You see, if I do the backhand this way, look, using the same force weakly, the ball lacks power because it doesn't genuinely utilize the wrist's power. It's merely a formal action. Now, what is the real power? Watch. See? The wrist moves passively, and after it moves, I stop it. Look, let's apply this principle to our reverse spin. See? Brake. Did you see? Find the backswing and brake. And what advantage does this have? It proves that the smaller your wrist movements, right, the easier it is to find the point, and you are less likely to do this. Leakage. This is an issue that many students encounter during training or competitions. What is it? Is that they haven't simplified their actions because the reverse spin serve itself has very high demands for precision. This is a crucial point to avoid. The use of the wrist. You see? So, after we find this lightest friction feeling, I take a step forward. The second step. On the basis of going forward, I move a bit to the right. See? There's the right side, the back. Then, the ultimate move is going backward, right? It's obvious, right? It's only by moving backward that you can truly serve, right? So from the beginning, you go forward. And at this time, slowly, because you have initially been able to find the ball and make contact with it. The second training, hey, look to the right, to the right, to the right. See it? Directly to the right to hit the ball. You must apply spin to hit the ball. Look to the right to hit the ball. So at this time, what problem does everyone notice? First, it was mentioned not to move the wrist recklessly. Second, we reverse rotation. Actually, you can see what the complete motion is. I lift my elbow, but at this moment, the elbow must pull upwards. Kind of like when you pull something, see, like pulling a door, see? Instead of rotating the forearm, instead of keeping the elbow fixed to cut with the forearm. This is a common misconception among many players. I believe this certainly exists, at least among those I have met offline. It accounts for 90%. This is a problem when first learning reverse spin, right? Everyone thinks the elbow should be fixed like in a backhand stroke. Actually, adjust slightly. The elbow shouldn't be fixed. Can you see? If the elbow is fixed and you only use the forearm, there's no power. Because our space is limited, what do we rely on? For instance, with a fixed elbow, the shoulder pulling back feels a bit like drawing a bow in archery. You pull the shoulder back, that's the feeling when we serve. Pulling back at the moment of serving, then how is the elbow fixed then? During the pulling process, the horizontal line of the elbow is fixed, but we pull the chest back, see? You can see that my elbow hasn't moved, my forearm has barely moved. I'm moving the forearm with the elbow, see? I'm moving the forearm with the elbow. So at this point, what is another very important framework? When you perform the entire motion, it's a bit like you're hugging something. Do you know what the most difficult part is? Because many people still want to move from the outside in, wanting to open up and then collect the ball. So what is the reason that the reverse spin is hard to control? There are many short serves here where the contact point is outside the body. So it's like holding on to something, like a big tree, embracing the ball within that range. This way, your chest muscles and the core of your waist and abdomen can transmit force well to your racket. Let's go over it again. Okay, move from back to front to find the point. Then second, move from back to right to the right. You see, moving forward can be understood as using light strength. The lighter the strength, the easier it is to find the point, right? The lighter the strength, the lower the difficulty, correct? When you move to the right, the strength becomes a bit stronger. So moving backward, we can start to try what? Really using strength to complete the movement. Relax first, then use strength. Experiencing the full movement, move backward. You can see this. Speed will slow down, but spin will become stronger. We can find here, small force forward, medium force to the right. Here, this ball will slowly change, then large force backward. See this movement? Can you see it? I gradually enlarge it until we completely master the movement in our hands to fully what? What does it mean to master? It means I can basically control the ball. My movement has become bigger and I can find the initial hitting point. See? So this is a step-by-step process. So in the next training, what do we need to strengthen? Let's combine our previous focus, moving the chest forward, and finally the force, like drawing a bow with the elbow fixed. We integrate this series. So then through this, everyone can start a bit slower at first. Oh, come. This serve, and everyone knows the shorter the serve, the better. This is because we still primarily use our hands to exert force, so it's relatively easy for it to go out. Therefore, when training, we should practice serving with a focus on control and feeling. Look. Yes, you must find the feeling of holding the ball for a long time. Everyone knows what we're practicing now, right? A reverse spin, backspin. Actually, the reverse spin, backspin is the most difficult among all reverse spins. So, what's next? At this point, we can move on to the top spin of the reverse spin ball. What adjustment do we need to make? As mentioned earlier, start by pointing the paddle head towards the ground and set the blade vertically, right? As for the reverse backspin, the angle is approximately 30 to 45 degrees, such an inclination. For reverse top spin, the initial position of the paddle stays unchanged and you can pull upwards towards the back and upper area. Because unlike reverse backspin, it directly goes towards pull back, right? The reverse top spin can be upwards and backwards. Because why? I want to arch the ball upwards, creating an upward jumping curve. So everyone knows, look, if I don't use my center of gravity and don't pull back, see? Basically, if I touch it lightly, it has no effect, right? When you want to make it spin, it will go out. So, A very crucial point is that the center of gravity pressing forward and downward does not change. And under the premise that our entire movement framework does not change, the direction of force application does not shift. It's somewhat like pulling from below, not pulling from outside inward. It's a feeling of pulling from bottom to top. A bit like pulling up a suitcase. Pulling it down like this, turning from bottom to top. What is there? There's a dwell time on the rubber. With this feeling, right? Now look, actually reverse topspin is not just about hitting it like this, which is rather dull. So what do? Since both reverse topspin and reverse backspin involve pulling back, this creates a strong element of surprise in a match. The opponent will not. He might hesitate to make a decisive judgment. At this moment, when he hesitates, we can easily reveal and demonstrate our spin completely, which brings us the opportunity, right? It must be brushed upwards for the placement to be perfect. This requires everyone to continually work on finding coordination with their body to better locate the point of force and the point of synergy. This is a process that we can repeatedly train and evolve every day, even in every class for our reverse spin process. Now, the last one is a reverse spin long shot, a rather unique long shot. So what does it rely on for power? Rely on one. Can everyone see this position? The handle. When we start the reverse spin, we've all been taught, the end of the handle is closer to my chin, see? At this point, you will notice, my elbow is slightly raised. The elbow and shoulder form a pivot, and we use this pivot as a point of force in the instant we perform the reverse spin. Look, can everyone see? Actually, how do I go from inside to outside? You can see I'm relying on the hand and shoulder, because why? The hand is the farthest from the chest. The fingers, wrist, and forearm are relatively distant from the chest. Now, what did we just say is the most important for reverse spin? Rely on our chest and center of gravity to move forward, right? So where is closest to the chest? The position of the elbow and the shoulder, they are the closest to the chest. So we rely on the center of gravity to lead our left elbow and shoulder from back to front. These two positions, see? 1, 2, 3. These three positions, you see my racket is placed in this triangular area, the elbow. The chest and shoulder, these three areas, form a larger region to push forward. What does it roughly feel like? If I break it down, it's roughly this feeling. So how do we add reverse spin? Close the paddle angle a bit. Just like the starting motion for reverse spin. Specifically, you see push out like this, we rub the right side of the ball. When it goes out, it also has a curving trajectory. And we can add a bit of right side spin so that when the ball lands on the opposite table, its trajectory becomes more unpredictable and more sudden. This is the most important part of our reverse spin long ball point. That is, when we make the final contact with the ball, we must rely more on the shoulder and hand, including what? Finally, you can see when I serve short balls, it is tucked here, right? So when we serve long balls, the right side, the root of the right leg, the hip and the waist, at the moment of hitting, push outward, carrying this triangular area, simultaneously pushing and striking forward, then rub to the right. These three positions all move forward, unlike a short serve that pulls back. And now everyone can feel it again. This odd serve out, serve comes out, it's done very well. You see, all the initial movements are consistent, right? At any moment, I can, hey, if I retract, it's a short ball, right? If I pull back, it's a spinning sinking ball. If I pull back and up, it's a non-spinning one. When his attention is up, I push, and we combine the whole set.
Read more about table tennis on my blog, PingSunday.com. Get free ebook and coaching advices. See you in the next video.